Today we're going to look at two ways to bring your turned pieces to a beautiful polish. Either abrasive paste like Yorkshire Grit or my own DIY version, or a traditional buffing system. In this video we're going to explore these two ways to contrast the differences between the two. Some turners use both, but they serve different purposes. And in this video I want to explain the difference between when you want to use an abrasive paste and when you want to reach for a buffing system. An abrasive paste is a blend of oil, wax, and abrasive powder. Think of abrasive paste as liquid sandpaper. Abrasive pastes are designed to replace your last few sanding grits. It's applied before your final finish to create a very smooth surface. You apply the abrasive paste after sanding to about 240 or perhaps 320 grit. The paste's fine particles continue sanding the surface mechanically, filling in the pores and leaving a smooth, almost burnished surface. This is true of the commercial products like Yorkshire Grit or Wax Paste or my own homemade version. And the wax base also acts as a lubricant, so it cuts cleanly and reduces heat. Afterwards you can wipe off the residue and go directly to a finish like a friction polish, lacquer, or Danish oil. The Beall buffing system, on the other hand, is a post-finish process. It's not sanding, it's polishing. It uses three separate buffs: Tripoli for the initial cut and polish, White Diamond for fine polishing, and Carnauba wax for the final shine. Some folks skip the Carnauba wax step and instead use a microcrystalline wax like Renaissance. I usually buff after the finish is cured, and it makes no difference whether it's antique oil, shellac, or lacquer. That may take 24 hours, it may take a week. I prefer to use a penetrating oil finish that goes into the wood, like antique oil, Danish oil, perhaps wipe-on poly, rather than a film finish such as lacquer, shellac, or varnish that you could possibly burn through with a buffing system if you're not careful. The Tripoli levels out the fine bumps in the finish, and then when you get to the White Diamond wheel, which is an even finer grit, it cleans off any residue left by the Tripoli, and then leaves it an even finer polish. And then the Carnauba wax leaves a really fine shine and polish. I have what's called a 3-on-1 buffing system on this mandrel. I usually do smaller work, and I can get an 8 or 9 inch bowl on these, and I find it more convenient than having to swap out individual wheels on the lathe. I like to use abrasive paste on items that are difficult to buff because of the small parts, such as this birdhouse ornament, and for other small turnings, ornaments and clips and weed pots and the like that are just, I want to finish them fast and quick on the lathe. Abrasive paste is also great for beginners because it helps you blend out sanding marks without having to go to a higher grit, finer grit sandpaper, and that does several things. Number one, it can save you some money on sandpaper, it can save you some time, but it also reduces the fine dust, the fine dust that you're likely to breathe, because it will develop a slurry and capture some of that fine dust. It cuts roughly equivalent to 600 to 1,000. But remember, paste is not a finish, it's a preparation to finish. It'll be shiny for a little while, but you've still got to use a top coat on it afterwards. So as a practical takeaway, think of it as this. Think of it as a liquid sandpaper that can save you the last couple of grits. If you stop at 240, you might stop at 320, you might stop at 400, but you know, if you do sand to a little finer grit, you'll get a little shinier surface. And it's not a substitute for proper sanding. Abrasive paste is not going to get rid of tool marks, so you got to sand past the tool marks. And you still need to add a finish. Buffing, on the other hand, is a polishing step, only to be used after your finish is finally cured. The Tripoli compound smooths and finishes the surface, and is equivalent to about 800 to 1100 grit. It contains a tallow or a wax type of compound. The White Diamond serves to remove any excess Tripoli residue, and it also creates a higher gloss equivalent to maybe 15 to 1800 grit. I'm not showing change out the wheels, but each of these compounds you use a different wheel on. And the last step is using Canuba wax from the Canuba palm. It's the hardest known wax known to man, and it gives a very nice, shiny, protective coat. You don't buff on raw wood. It'll make it shiny, but it's not going to give a finish that lasts. Again, buffing is used to finish the finish. And similar to abrasive paste, buffing, even though it has a very fine grit when you go through the full process, it's not going to eliminate tool marks. So you've got to sand past the tool marks before you apply your finish. And buffing works best on cured surfaces. Otherwise, it can leave quite a mess with the finish. It enhances the depth and brings out the chatoyance of the wood, and it just gives it such a smooth baby butt feel to it. You can buff the wood to shiny, but it's not going to stay shiny without a finish. And wax is not a finish, it's just a thin protective coat that helps protect the finish. I like an antique oil or Beall linseed oil finish because once it goes into the wood, you can't buff past the surface of the wood and it's still going to be shiny. You can't burn through it like you can a film finish. So to kind of put it into context, Tripoli gets you up to about 800 to 1100 grit. The white diamond gets you to about 15 to 1800 grit. So abrasive paste gets you close to that pre-buffing stage. Now, buffing is faster than using abrasive paste. It gets you a finer finish. Abrasive paste is really convenient when you're finishing something on the lathe that tends to be smaller. Now, can you combine the two? Some turners do, and I do occasionally, as I will explain. Some turners that use abrasive paste as part of their finishing on the lathe, and then they'll put a finish on it and buff it. I generally don't do that. I see that as kind of duplicative effort. Occasionally I will use abrasive paste on the inside of a small bowl, like a ring bowl, where I can't get into it with even a 4-inch wheel or a Beall buff, but I may still buff the outside of it. I also tend to use the abrasive paste on the inside of boxes rather than finishing them because it does smooth it out a little bit, gives it a nice feel that smells good, whereas using a finish sometimes takes a long time for that inside smell to go away. But then I may still buff the outside of the box. So to sum it up, abrasive paste polishes up the outside in preparation for a finish. Buffing is for using after the finish to finish the finish. There are different steps in the process, and using them can lead you to have a better finish on your pieces. If you want to learn more about finishing with an abrasive paste, you might want to check out the link to this video. If you want to learn more about buffing, check out the link to this video. Your comments are important to me, so please leave them below. I welcome your comments. I try to answer every question. And hit the like button. And remember, y'all stay safe. Come on back, you hear?